the clearing. Nathan Clear. Wow! Last year. Here's Tupou. One to beat. Creighton, he's away. Is he away with the premiership? Stephen Creighton scores.
Welcome to episode 3 of the NGLC Rugby League podcast, and I'd like to welcome our two resident rugby league gurus in Dante and Zav. Welcome, gentlemen. How are we today?
Very good.
Good too.
All right, well, guess what? It is our finals edition. So we're here to talk rugby league finals. Exciting time of the year. So before we get into who's playing who and who's going to win this week, what's your prediction now that the top 8 has been finalised?
To win the comp, I still think Penrith can do it from outside the 4.
Yeah, okay. And what about you, Dante?
I reckon the Warriors will win it.
The Warriors, okay. So two teams from outside the 8. I still think the Raiders. But I guess we'll know more after this week, won't we? Because there's some big clashes. And there's a lot of teams outside the 8 that'll be pushing to win the comp this season. So let's get straight to it and go through each finals game and have our prediction and see how they're going and what we think about their form. So let's start with Friday's game, the big game between the Bulldogs and the Melbourne Storm down in Melbourne. Melbourne have a few injuries at the moment with Jerome Hughes out, Solomono, he's suspended, and Pappenhausen has HIA, so he can't play this week. So if there's a time to beat Melbourne in Melbourne, it's this Friday. So who can the Dogs do it, or will Melbourne be too strong? What do you think, Zav? What's your thoughts on the game?
I reckon the Dogs can do it. This is probably their best chance they'll ever get to beat Melbourne in Melbourne. So I reckon Bulldogs can do it. Melbourne are just very under strength, but still got some firepower with Munster, Harry Grant. So I reckon it'll be a really close game, but I reckon Bulldogs will get over.
Absolutely. Well, Jacob Carraz, if he plays on Friday, comes back a week early from his leg injury, I think they're a chance. If he doesn't play, I think they might struggle to get some go forward. What do you reckon, Dante? Who do you think's going to win this Friday?
I think that who was it again?
Melbourne and the Bulldogs.
I reckon the Bulldogs will win by 2 points, a field goal.
2 points by field goal. So Dante's gone like full extreme. I think if the Bulldogs can get their fair share of footy, 50% or more of possession, they're a good chance. But if they don't, they'll struggle. And I think like any semi-final, you've got to start well, haven't you, Zav?
Yes. If you don't start well, especially... Well, if you don't make the top 4, if you don't start well, you're out.
Yeah.
But, if you don't start well, you don't finish well.
Yeah. High completions, good ball possession. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see on Friday's match. So game 2 of the weekend is Penrith playing the Warriors in New Zealand. No Mitch Kenny for the Panthers. But other than that, they're pretty much full strength. So what are your predictions there, Zav?
I reckon Penrith win 13 plus.
13 plus, wow.
I just think Penrith have much more experience in this than the Warriors. So I reckon, Penrith 13 plus.
Yeah, and the other thing too is Penrith don't fear playing in New Zealand because they went over there after the Perth Origin match without any of their Origin stars. They went over with a lot of young kids, and they beat the Warriors. So, going over there with all their Origin players back, obviously playing in New Zealand won't be a massive hurdle for them. I did hear in other media outlets that the Warriors fans were planning on sitting outside of the Penrith hotel room and screaming and yelling and blowing whistles all night to try and keep them up all night. I don't know whether that's a rumour or legit, but imagine that. I didn't think that happened in rugby league circles, but hey, maybe it is. And what are your thoughts, Dante? Who do you think's going to win?
I think that the Warriors are just going to be too strong with Fish, and Tanner Boyd's going to get a field goal.
Yeah, cool, because you did say you think the Warriors are going to win the comp. So, it'd be interesting. And the loser is out, and the winner will play the loser of Melbourne and the Bulldogs. I'm pretty sure they're on that side of the draw. So then that leads us to the next game, which has been played at Shark Park or Shark Stadium, Cronulla versus the Roosters. So Zav, let's start with you first. I'm assuming you're going to be choosing Cronulla. Am I right? Or?
No. Roosters, I reckon it's going to be a really tight game. Remember that game in 2023? Where it was a really close game, came down to the final minutes. Walker kicked that field goal. I think it's going to be another game like that. I reckon 2 points in it, but I reckon Walker kicks a penalty goal in the final minute.
Wow, okay, so he's gone right down minute by minute. Yeah, I think it'll be a close game as well. So what do you think, Dante? Who's your tip for the second game on Saturday between the Sharks and the Roosters?
I reckon Sharks are going to win. They're just too strong.
Too strong. Well, they had a good result against Canterbury last weekend, so they're obviously in good form. And Nico Hines' suspension got overturned. Do you know much about that?
No.
Dave, do you know much about Nico Hines' suspension being changed?
Yeah, I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
It was definitely a hit drop. People think it's not. He pulled down. So when you're making a tackle and you have both your hands pulling down, that's a hit drop.
Yeah. So when you're pulling down on the back of their jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought too. And to change it based on like a medical report, it's sort of like it's a slippery slope to go down because it's either a hip drop or it's not, regardless of whether Montoya's injury was serious or not. Because I did hear someone say in another podcast that what if Montoya had turned up to that game with already having an ankle injury and he got it just was easier to hurt and he ended up being out for 6 weeks. Does that change the outcome? Like
No.
This is the risk you run by taking into consideration too much of the injury, because all players this time of year are going into games of footy with injuries, aren't they? They're even getting needles to play, or they've got extra padding in places to sort of, deal with the bumps and bruises. So yeah, what might be a 1 week injury in round 1, in round 26 might be a 4 week injury just because of where your body's at right after a grueling season. So anyway, my tip's the Roosters, but I'm not confident. I'm not confident in that just because it's at Shark Park and Cronulla are playing some good footy and they're going under the radar a little bit. But whenever you got Teddy in the team, who is absolutely killing it this year, you're always a chance. So let's dissect the last game and then we'll talk a little bit about some of the teams that didn't make the 8, maybe throw up who might win the Dally M and a bit about the Kangaroo Tour.
This is going to be game of the round.
Game of the round, attack versus attack.
Yeah.
Canberra Raiders versus Brisbane Broncos, Sunday afternoon, GIO Stadium in Canberra. Who's your tip, Dave?
It's a really hard game to tip. It's going to be really even. The way Reece Walsh is playing at the moment, he's in career best form. I reckon Brisbane, but I reckon by 8 points. That's not really just, but I reckon it might. Do you want to know my score prediction?
Yeah, go for it.
I reckon it's going to be a really close game. I reckon 18 to 10.
18 to 10. What about you, Dante? Who do you think's going to win this game?
Canberra just too strong at GIO Stadium.
Yeah, fair enough. So they are the minor premiers and they have been playing some good footy, but some of the matchups like Weeks, the fullback versus Walsh, Hunt versus Fogarty, and then you got the front row of Haas versus Tarpanay. I did hear that Papalili might be missing the game. Have you heard anything more about that, Zav? I know he rolled his ankle at training the other day.
Yeah, I heard about it. After the game, they do a show and they were talking about it.
Yeah.
What show is that? It's Matty Johns and that one after the games.
Yeah, on a Sunday.
They were talking about it could be a broken ankle.
Broken? Well, that'd probably rule him out for the remainder of the finals.
They said they didn't know, but they said they heard that it could be a broken ankle.
Yeah. So the winner of this game gets a prelim either in Canberra or in Brisbane, and the loser will play the Sharks or Roosters, the winner. Yeah. So, interesting. So should be some great finals. Looking at those 8 teams, other than my view, other than the Warriors, I think all of them could potentially make the prelim final. Like seven out of those 8 teams could easily be there the week before the grand final.
Yeah.
So it shows you how close it is. So, anyway, we'll watch this space and we'll see what happens at tomorrow, starting now in Melbourne. Now, let's have a look at the teams that didn't make the 8.
My prediction from the last podcast we did do was Melbourne out in straight sets. I still think that can happen.
Yeah,
I reckon lose to Bulldogs.
Yeah.
And then they're going to have to verse Penrith. Most likely Penrith are going to win.
Yeah.
That's 2 very hard games.
Yeah.
And I reckon Bulldogs and Penrith, I reckon Penrith gets over and
Possibly.
Melbourne are out double sets.
The thing with Melbourne, though, is I don't know. Like, I just don't know whether they would lose 2 games in Melbourne. If the Bulldogs win this Friday, then they play in Melbourne again. Do Melbourne do that? Like, when's the last time they've lost 4 games in a row? Like, they're going for 3 losses in a row if the Bulldogs beat them, and then 4 if that happens. So, stats don't lie, but then stats are also there to be broken too. Because apparently, according to statistics, the Raiders can't win the comp because they had 50 points put on them last week. Now, there's a big asterisk in that game because they sat out 8 or 9 players. But
it ended up being like 11.
11 in the end, was it?
Because they had both their centres.
Yeah.
And then they got pulled out before the game.
Oh, so last minute. Yeah, 11. So there's a big asterisk against that. But anyway, we'll see. So looking at the teams that didn't make the 8, so we've got Dolphins, Manly, Para, North Queensland, Tigers, Rabbits, Dragons, Titans, Newcastle. Predictions for next year, do you think these teams could climb themselves back into the top 8?
100%.
Newcastle, can they make the 8 next year?
Yes.
They can? What about you, Dante? What do you think?
No, I don't reckon they can make the 8.
I don't think they can either.
I
Too
mean,
much money tied up in 2 players.
Yeah. They are signing some key players. The past few years, why they haven't gone that extra step is because of their halves.
Yeah.
Now they've got the likes of Dylan Brown and Fletcher Sharp.
So they might be a bit more stable.
With Ponga out the back
Yeah.
and then Sandon Smith at hooker, I reckon they can go far away.
Yeah, okay, yeah, fair enough. And what about the Titans? Can with new coach Josh Hannay, can he get them into the finals next year?
No.
No? What do you think, Dante?
No.
Nah, okay, yeah, I don't. It's going to be a tough ask, but he's a young up-and-coming coach with a good resume from Cronulla as an assistant and helping Billy Slater at Origin. So, what about the Dragons?
If they stay healthy, yes, but I think even if they stay healthy, that they're still in that mid range of 11, 10, 9.
Yeah, I think, and also the Dragons' issue is they don't have a lot of depth.
Yeah.
So they get a few injuries, although they did unearth a few good young forwards this year, but yeah, they probably just lack depth. Now, Dante, let's go to you first. Can the mighty Rabbits make the top 8 next year?
Yes, they can.
Yeah, and what do they need to do differently next year to make it that they didn't do this year?
Get rid of the Dodd. What's his name?
Oh, Lewis Dodd.
Yeah, that guy. They need to get rid of him and sign a new halfback.
Yeah.
That's actually worth the money.
Yeah, and probably try and stay injury-free.
Yeah.
Had a lot of injuries this year, didn't they? So,
yeah.
And Wayne Bennett as the coach, he obviously doesn't miss finals too often. So, I dare say they'll be in and around the mix. But, again, they just need to be mindful of injuries. And then, obviously, they've got Alex Johnson looking to break the try-scoring record, which is exciting for him, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, 3 tries to 2 to equal it, and 3 to beat it. So, I reckon he'll do that in the first couple of weeks of next year.
I reckon he'll do it in the first game.
Yeah, and are you going to be there to jump the fence and run on the field or what?
I hope.
Good stuff. All right, what about the mighty West Tigers? What do you think, Zav? Can they make the 8 next year?
I don't think so.
No?
They've had a really good year. They didn't get the wooden spoon, of course, but they need to go that extra step. They haven't done that this year. They always start a season good, and then the middle of the season is where they go bad. The middle of the season, they were 9 losses in a row.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Nah, that's right. You can't lose 9 games in a row and then expect to make the 8. And I think the thing with the Tigers, and I think it's the same with a lot of these teams that don't make the 8, you sort of got to win the games you're expected to win.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it catches up with you at the back end of the season. So, and what about the Cowboys?
No.
No, and does Todd Payton keep his job?
Yes, I reckon for one more year.
Yep.
They've got some star players, but they just... It's always Dearden. Dearden can't carry a whole team.
Yeah.
They've of course they got more star players, but Dearden's always carrying, and then they just... I don't think they can make the 8.
I think they got to fix up their defense. They can score points, but they're a team that are happy to win 30-28 instead of winning like 10-8. You know what I mean? Like, they're happy to let a team score 28 points and go, well, you score 28, we'll score 30.
Yeah, 100%.
And you can't win the NRL or make top 4 with that mentality. So they've got a lot of work to do. And what about the Parramatta Eels, Dante? Do you think they can make the 8 next year?
Yes.
Yeah, if Mitchell Moses can stay injury-free and play a few more games, they're a good chance, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah, they finished the season off well by pumping Newcastle at the end.
Top 4.
Top 4. That's
Top 4.
a big call. Yeah, okay.
If Moses stays injury-free, top 4, 100%.
Yeah, okay.
I'm backing them.
Well, if you have a look at the ladder, they're on 26 points and Brisbane are on 36 points. So that's only 5 wins. So 5 wins out of top 4 this year. Moses probably missed, or he definitely missed more than 5 games. And I'm not saying they would have won if he had played all of them, but they might have won more. So
He only played 10 games this season.
there you go. So he missed, 16 or 14 games. So what about Manly? Now, I just read that Turbo wants to go to England. He's had enough of Manly. He wants out. They've said no. He has to see out.
Which one?
Tom Trbojevic. And they said he has to see out his contract, which is another year. Now, that's big news, isn't it, if that rumour's getting around there, because he's the heart and soul of the place. So obviously there's something going on. You know, DCE's left. Turbo's thrown up, you know, I want to go to England, of all places. What do you think about them next year making the 8?
I don't think they can do it.
No.
They're getting a star halfback.
Fogarty. Yeah.
But I just don't know. I don't think they can do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know whether Seabold's the right person for the job as coach, but I guess they're only 2 points out of the top 8 this year, so they weren't that far. But I think Cherry Evans is as horrendous as he's played this year after making that announcement that he was leaving. I still think it's going to be big shoes to fill. But then Fogarty he's gotten his team to the minor premiership. He's played good footy. So what they probably need to do at Manly is just put a real live wire outside of Fogarty. I don't think Luke Brooks is the answer. And then they might be able to spark a little bit. But
nah, Luke Brooks is the GOAT.
Oh, please. The goat of barbecues. That's the goal. Anyway, last team, the Dolphins. Dante, can they make the 8 next year?
Yes, they can.
They can. They had a lot of injuries this year, and they still ended up coming to the last week and still a chance of making the 8. Well, they've got Katoa at halfback. Thomas Flegler's meant to be coming back next year. And Gilbert, who did his ACL, if they get those 2 back, they will be a formidable force because they've got the hammer, Farnworth, they've got some good outside backs.
Katoa
At halfback, Nicarima. So they're and Bostock, who broke his leg during the season.
ACL as well.
ACL, was it?
Yeah.
So they if they can get their act together. Their issue was they lost 4 games at the start of the season.
Yeah.
And it's hard to come back from that sometimes.
Manly actually did that in 2021. Lost 4 games in a row. Their first 4, made top 4.
Yeah, okay.
With injuries as well.
Was that the year that Turbo went on the mad run? Yeah. So it can be done, but it is hard.
Very hard.
It is hard. So anyway, that's the NRL season. So just a couple of things coming up. So we've got the Kangaroo Tour coming up at the end of the year, with Australia go over and play against England. First time there's been an Ashes tour in over 20 years, so that should be exciting. Biggest issue, there's a lot of players defecting to the Pacific Islands, so Payne Haas. Tino have Tino decided yet?
No, he hasn't decided.
No, but there was talk he was going to, and the Hammer was another one that was talking. So Australia might be up against it, having to lose a lot of those star players. So it's interesting times coming up in the NRL. So I think that's it for our week 1 finals things. What do you got?
Just one more thing.
Yeah, go for it, buddy.
This is with the Dolphins.
Yep.
With their backs, they've got too many.
Yeah.
They've got the likes of... This is wing and centre. They've got Avarillo. They've got Asako, they've got Bostock, they've got Cobbo next year.
Oh, that's right. Cobbo's going there next year.
They've got this Nafua guy. There was a few more. Who?
Farmworth.
Farmworth.
Farmworth, yep.
And
The Hammer.
Yeah. Trey Fuller. They've got like 10 different players to fit into 5 positions. It's going to be hard.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so they maybe need to think about offloading because that Trey Fuller, he could easily play fullback at most.
Yeah.
Other NRL clubs, right? Like at the Bulldogs, I think he'd be great, up there, and other clubs that that don't have representative fullbacks. But yeah, that's obviously a job for the coach to sort out during the off season, try to balance up his salary, and then obviously November 1, they got the Bears that can start officially talking to players. So yeah, like some of those guys you mentioned could be on the radar for the Bears. Who someone like Trey Fuller who wants a permanent starting position in the NRL. He might be looking to move elsewhere. A couple of those other guys. There's plenty of guys in other clubs that might look for an opportunity. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, gentlemen, that's our 3rd episode of the podcast for 2025, finals edition. Hopefully, we might be able to get back on the mics again between now and the GF. But enjoy the finals this weekend.
Have
a good week. And I'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.